welcome back to Apple One-to-One. This is Will, along with Mr. Cheeto Frank Funk here. I'm not going to go through the entire opening I usually do with Frank, because you know what? We have a long episode to go through. Please like and subscribe our content. We really do appreciate you guys sending us up all the time for our YouTube videos. But WWDC is in the books, and as we do every year, we talk about what happened, our thoughts, and there was a lot to get to. So without further ado, Frank, number one, obviously the most important thing in this entire video was the opening, because Mr. Phil Schiller came back on the front of the plane, driving all the important Apple execs down into Apple Park, which is really cool. I think they do really fun openings with WWDC every year. Yeah. This one was no exception of them diving from the plane with what was the song, the 80s song they were using? I forgot.
Oh, I don't know. I forget. Right. But I mean, it really was it was pretty good. I'm curious to know if they actually did it, or it was somehow done on a green screen.
Well, they did say it was this entire thing was edited on an Apple Silicon Mac, and it was filmed with an iPhone. Yeah. So everything that we saw was filmed with an iPhone today, which again is just a great way to market this product, because you could see the production level that it looks. Obviously, there's a lot of green screen, a lot of effects, but they're using an Apple Silicon to edit it, and they're using an iPhone to film all those scenes.
It's very impressive. Mm-hmm. Very impressive. Yeah. Right from the get-go. I mean, like you said, that intro, and it seems like Tim Cook, all he did was stand on the roof.
All Tim likes to do is stand on the roof. But at least we didn't get this long, drawn-out video of like last year. Remember, the Vision Pro was the big announcement last year. And then they did a whole Mother Nature thing. It's almost like they didn't have a lot to do. But this year, people had a high expectation of what Apple was going to announce. Let's talk about Apple Intelligence. That was the big one more time moment of this entire keynote, which you don't call it a keynote anymore. It's an Apple event. But Apple Intelligence is coming in beta form in the fall to one iPhone. So let's get this right out of the gate. Apple Intelligence, which is Apple's AI, which I kind of predicted they were going to do something like this, but they're going to come out with their own intelligence that works with Siri, and they're going to build it directly into your iPhone, iPad, and Mac, into your device here. And it basically it's just exactly how AI is running. It understands tasks that you ask it to do, mistakes. It corrects a lot of the things that you want to do. It creates imagery. It is doing everything with Apple Intelligence, and you can write up things, you can do wording, you can redo like your paragraphs. This is pretty much stuff that you see right now in ChatGPT, but now it's like built into Apple, and we'll talk about that. But Frank, let's talk a little bit about some of the features that you absolutely love about this AI Apple Intelligence feature.
I like the new look of Siri, the more natural language. I like the fact that it is across all of the app's keynote pages. And you can, in Mail, you can tell it to respond to an email, and you can do it in multiple formats, meaning it'll rewrite it, or it will write an email for you. You can review it and say, no, do it in a more professional tone or more conversational tone, and it will rewrite it for you.
Some of the features that we could talk about is the outer rim now represents the entire Siri. You have Ask Siri, which is great. I love this feature where we could just ask Siri right off the bat about it. You can also explain your product knowledge, so that kind of hurts us a little bit. But
I was just going to say, it's basically an onboard help.
Yeah,
you say, how do I do this in this? Yeah. And it gives you step-by-step instructions.
Yeah, like alarms, timers, you can just type it in. You don't have to bother opening the app. You don't have to wait for anything. So on-screen answers that it's going to be doing, personal contacts. So we have a lot of Siri features here that's coming to this device, which is really great. And they're going to work between apps, so which is even better. Now, this was a rumor going around that ChatGPT was going to be Apple was, I guess, going around trying to figure out who they wanted to be like their outsource.
Yeah, their main partner in this,
Right. And ChatGPT is going to be the one that is integrated into Siri and all the writing tools. And without and you need permission for that to work. And then there are obviously paid options. If you're a paid ChatGPT subscriber, you can connect accounts that gives you additional experiences. So they won the bid, man, which is great because there was rumors that Google was actually winning this, but in this case, ChatGPT is the right call. I think I use that more than any other AI right now. I think it's going to do some really good stuff for this that have it built in.
I like the fact that if you ask it to do something, it will come back to you and say, well, I think ChatGPT can get us a little bit more information. Do you want to send it out to ChatGPT to get that additional information? So it's not going to do it automatically. You have to respond in the positive in order to send the request, which I think is a very good thing.
Apple Intelligence, as it mentions, these are the models that are compatible for it. It's going to be initially available. It's coming in beta this fall, and you have to have certain devices in order to support it. So basically, any M1 and later supports that. But the only iPhone that supports it is anything that's an iPhone 15 Pro. And if you do an iPad Pro or iPad Air, so all the devices I own are covered, which is awesome. So I'm happy with that. But you have to have these devices for it to work. And we were asking before we started this, why is the iPhone 15 the only phone? Because there are 3 other phones that I think there are 3 other chips that have these neural engines built into it. So you would think that they would be a part of it. But because of how many tasks it's requiring, that based on what I read, that it's not going to be allowed. So that's when I went to this article and I read about it. So there's a 16 neural engine in both chips with the A15, A14, but inside of this chip that the A17 Pro has a 16 core neural engine that's capable of 35 trillion operations. And that's what the A16 and below can't do.
Yeah.
So it's amazing that whatever this is going to be, whatever this is going to look like, the only phone that could do it is that one. But all the M1 chips, are fine.
Well, I don't know that it's necessarily the only one that could do it, but I think it has to do with, can it do it in a short amount of time? That I think that's a big factor too. Maybe the others could do it, but the response time would be so long you would give up.
Well, I'm wondering when the next iPhone is released, are they going to include the A17 Pro in a standard iPhone, or is it going to be
Just
a Pro
feature?
Yeah, which I don't think it should be because it's in other devices like the Air and the iPad Air. So these are not Pro devices. So they have to put the Pro chip, I think, in the next phone. Like they can't just go with the base model anymore because then there's less people are going to use this. I think it's going to be great for a Mac, though. I think it's going to be great for searching. I think there's going to be some emails I want to write up that I can automatically do, which I think will be great. So I'm really looking forward to what Apple Intelligence is going to be, plus with ChatGPT involved. But that wasn't the only thing that was announced. We have a lot of things. And this is actually something I want to bring up before we go into all the other items that they talked about. Apple Intelligence was put at the very end of this Apple event. They couldn't talk about all this stuff while we were introducing iOS 18, iPad, because obviously they would give it away. Yeah. And that was also, I guess, confusing a little bit. It's almost like I wish they would have just done Apple Intelligence first and then talked about the rest of the OS. Wow. That's just me, because it comes off confusing that there was we felt because we were speeding through things. If you notice, we were going through iOS 18 fast. We were going through iPadOS fast. And then the new macOS Sequoia, they were talking about, they went through really quickly because they wanted to get to this.
I thought the reason they did that was because they hit on some key topics in each of the operating systems. And then when they started talking about the Apple Intelligence, they went back to each of those operating systems and tied it all together. And one of the things that I gleaned from this was that it's getting closer and closer to a single operating system. You can access your phone from your Mac. You can
Oh, we're gonna
access
get
the
there. We'll
files
talk
from the
about
phone.
that.
I mean, just a lot of stuff that's like really nice.
And we'll start with the nice stuff. So iOS 18 came out where they have a lot of new features with game mode, especially customizing your layout. Man, now you can have colors everywhere. New
Yeah.
look for app icons. This is great. I love the idea of coloring up my icons,
Yeah.
moving them anywhere on the screen that you want to do, which I think is great. So you can now, like, if you have a photo and you want to be able to see the actual photo behind it.
Well, it'll give you a suggestion. Like if you had a
Right.
picture up there eh, with a predominant color, for example, like
Hmm.
that red dress, it'll suggest, oh, do your icons in red. But if you don't want that, you can change them. So, I mean, you can accept the suggestion or you can do it any way you want. So there's a lot of customization there.
Yeah, and then the locked and hidden app. So if you want to protect like sensitive stuff if someone's looking
Yes,
at it,
yes,
about that,
yes.
man, Control Center, big update. You could really
Yep,
customize that. They're making it much cleaner, that's for
yep,
sure. And then they're organizing it based on controls like music controls, home controls, wireless controls.
yes,
Really great little things there. And then also they're opening it up to APIs, so now anybody can create one, which I think
yep.
is great on there. You can resize your controls now. Very, again, customizing more things. Even the lock screen, you're no longer stuck to the camera and the flashlight. What if you wanted to do something else? I think they're opening up to you can open up any app down there, which is great. So now we have the four icons on the top, and now we also have these two on the bottom, which is great. Photos got a complete redesign of the entire library. They rebuilt it. Uh,
This
this
is this
this
is the
was
one thing I
this was
think is going to
mixed.
be a shocker.
Yeah, this is a mixed thing. I have heard that people are a little not liking this layout. Uh,
Well, I
like
I don't care what they did with it, okay? Every time they change photos, people are like, "Oh, I just finished learning the last one. Now I got it changes not a lot of people's friend when it comes to photos.
yeah,
But I think it gives you an easy way to segregate your photos, put them in recent days, people and pets, printed. I mean, and the interaction with the Apple Intelligence, you can say, "Show me all the pictures of Will when we're doing our podcast," and all of those pictures will come up right out of your photo library, and you can create your slideshows.
I'm a little afraid of how this is going to work out. I like the recent days one, but I mean, the thing is, we're depending on this being smart. We got to remember, this is not. I'm hoping that it figures it out where iPhone 15 might be different because of AI built into it compared
Right.
to the other phones. So I don't know necessarily how well it's going to work for every user because of that. But yeah, I think it requires you to do more work. I think it requires you to pin more things that you want to access a lot more. So
Um,
I don't know. We'll see. I'm a little mixed on this one.
I'll tell you just what I tell everybody when they say, "Oh, I have all these photos and this." Listen, here's the rule of thumb. If you ignore editing your photos, and by editing, what I mean is weeding out repetitive photos and things like that, and then you're going to have thousands of photos. You're never going to accomplish it. You go on vacation. I normally, as a rule of thumb, will create a vacation album.
Hmm.
And any photos I take each day, I make sure they go into that album.
And we do
So,
have a great video and photos and smart albums if you'd love to learn about
yeah,
that.
there you go.
We just recently did that not that long ago.
And if you do that up front, it's much less work.
Mhm.
Now, to get to that point, yes, it's going to take you time, but that's a learning experience that you need to go through, I think.
You can start emphasizing your text a little bit in messages. So now you can do bold underlines. That way you can express your mood a little bit more. More tap back with any emoji or sticker. They have messages via satellite. That's a feature coming out soon. Send later, which also applies to
Yes,
mail as
that's
well.
nice.
And
I
then
like the fact that you could, if you're responding, you could to a particular person, you can have it go out and get recent photos of that person and create an emoji from that in your response.
Mhm.
I thought that was
I
pretty
also
neat.
I like schedule later because a lot of times with text messages, like if it's really late at night and you don't want to text them, I'll just text them, set up for the morning because it's the
Yes.
thoughts in my head. And
Yep.
then RCS. Not a lot of people know what that is, but it's going to make our lives much easier. Talking to Android users, that's for sure.
I
Who,
don't talk to Android users, so I never had
well,
that problem.
I'm sure you do. One feature I really like with mail is the sorting feature. It's not
Yeah.
coming out right away. It's going to come out later on the end of the year. But the fact that it's going to sort out based on shopping, based on
Categories.
categories,
Yeah.
I love that. That is
Yeah.
such a great way to
Yep.
use mail. What a great feature that will be. That it's going to know what things are like for plane rides, what things are friends and family. That's really great. I'm hoping for really good things about
Yep.
that. Regarding Safari, I didn't really mean much about that. That was like a big deal to me. But the passwords app, that's definitely useful.
Oh, password. That's
So
great.
Keychain right now is a mess. That is a hard app to understand. But now
Right.
that they're going to kind of change it and they're going to now build an app around it, which I think is going to be great. So, password app is coming to all the devices, which I think will
Yep.
be fun. And I think it'll be an easy way for everyone to understand where they are because you had to go into settings, scroll down, go to passwords. It was very difficult to get to.
Yeah. And you
So,
had to know your password to get into it.
yeah. Well, you need your Face ID or something like
Yeah.
that. And then some map stuff, not really a big deal for me. Game mode, not really a big deal for me. Wallet, they have tap to cash, great. Glad it's there. More unique ticket looking items. AirPods, love this. And this is only going to work for the second gen, though, that you could nod yes or no with a shake of your head. Absolutely
Yeah.
love this feature because, and
Yeah.
then voice isolation as well. Uh, this is great for people who have an AirPods Pro second gen. This feature will be there, and that is going to be awesome.
Yeah, I was pretty impressed with that. They were walking down the street or they were in a meeting or something and said, telephone call from Mary. Do you want to take it? And guy just went like this and it just sent it right to voicemail. I mean, it's like pretty cool.
Notes, live audio trend. Thank God that's been missing for a while now. I think we're like 3 years behind on this. The numbers that you crunch inside of your note will also, I think it adds it up automatically, which I think is great. That's an awesome little feature.
Yeah, and it's live. And when you change something, you'll see the result in all of your other math notes there.
There's an enhanced Apple TV app for if you want to for original content and your remote. Customized access, which grants special controls. They're even going to offer robot vacuums, which is a thing they didn't talk about, but it's there. In case which I don't know what apps support that, but I have a Roomba, but I don't think it's going to support that. But the good news is all iOS 17 devices are compatible with 18.
Yeah.
So that's a great thing. So the more support. Think about it. The iPhone 10R gets all this stuff.
Yeah.
Like that's how far back we're going here, folks. iPad really had a lot of the same things here. Notes, which I thought was cool with the pencil, is that when you script out, it kind of fixes it for you to make it a little bit smoother.
Makes it a little bit more legible.
I thought
Learns your style and creates one that's
I want to talk about a feat that some may have concluded must be a mathematical impossibility. That's right, we're bringing Calculator to iPad.
And finally, after 17 long years, a calculator app comes. Like, I remember watching videos of campus, people were literally clapping, and that was like the biggest thing that they have a calculator app coming there. But what is really the best feature of this is math notes. This is a great feature to have. Like, wow, you talk about something that you talk about AI and some of the enhanced features. And I don't know if this is a AI feature or not, but the fact that you can write on your pencil, I'm sure you need the Apple Pencil Pro. I don't know if they said specifically. If you want to look that up while I'm asking.
I think it does. It is for the Apple Pro Pencil.
The Apple Pencil Pro specifically. And so again, a newer product has to take advantage of this. But the fact that you can put all that information in write down the formula, and then it just figures it out. Man, more people are going to be passing math class now because of this. So, so I love that they're going to have the calculator app again. All the customization that was there before is going to be there. With all the photos features are going to be there. So I don't think there wasn't too much different in here. Everything we already just talked about is going to be there. The only thing I think they said is that SharePlay is coming now. This is a great feature I thought we talked about while this was going on, is that we can SharePlay each other's iPads, but also you could draw on the iPads as well as you're doing it. So it's a great way of us teaching each other something. So remote control screen sharing is coming that allows you to draw and do. So which I think is really a neat feature. I think that's going to be one feature we absolutely need to tell our audience about. And I'm looking forward to seeing how the new document browser is going to look on Pages, Numbers, and Keynote, which of course is one of our great products.
It appears that it's going to put it on the bottom of the screen.
Mm-hmm. And as far as compatibility goes, all compatibility is pretty much the same as it was last time. There really is nothing. iPad 7th generation and later will support this. And again, going back, I believe, read all this text on the bottom, by the way, if you really want to know if your product is available for you or not. So please read it. But as long as you have an AirPods Pro 2nd Gen, you're good. You pretty much got all those features on there.
Just scroll. No, go back.
Oh, yeah.
This here, Vision OS 2.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that.
You can connect your Vision Pro to your Mac and have 4 screens across in 4K. I mean, I was like, oh my God, I want to go out and buy Vision Pro now. I mean, I wanted it before, but now this is really...
Yeah, so the panoramic display is what he's talking about, which again is a later. Is it weird that Apple has all this stuff that comes out later, and we don't know when it's coming out? But yeah, you're going to basically have 2 4K displays, spread out, which I think is great. I'm looking forward to seeing how that's going to work. And yes, it is going to be an advantage because people, I think one of the things they didn't like about it was that it was one display. Now that they're going to make it a panoramic option, that adds some value to there, but it's still not worth $3,499. Sorry, everybody. But beyond that, since we're talking about Vision Pro, we might as well talk about it. The SharePlay for photos, where you can be able to see more lifelike features into it. You can edit spatial videos with Final Cut Pro. So that's going to be great. And they're going to be coming out with lenses specifically for these cameras. Now, I don't know how many people are going to actually do this.
Well, it's a Canon camera. Canon's coming out with the
Canon specifically. And then Blackmagic, they're also working with as well for this. But there wasn't much about Vision Pro. And I have to say, they have new mouse access. Is this something new? I didn't read about this. So they're going to have you can now connect your Magic Mouse or third-party Bluetooth mouse to navigate while using Apple Vision Pro. So they can use a mouse on there. Okay, I guess that's kind of cool. They're going to have multi-view with MLS and MLB fans. Obviously, this is for a Apple TV Plus subscription. And then you can actually see someone looking at your device during SharePlay, and they can actually show up as a persona. So, I mean, we'll see. They really didn't give like this big speech with Apple Vision Pro this year. You know, they didn't talk about it's the number one. It's like the best. They didn't do the quotes thing, which tells me that I don't know if this is not failing, but I don't think this is going to the expectation they wanted. I mean, because you think they would tout this, the fact that it's been out for 4 months, right? And they didn't go over the top saying, this is the quotes from different people saying this is the best device ever, or they've done that in the past. Yeah. And they didn't do that this time. So, which tells me, I think that the feedback.
Well, do you think it was more of a time constraint because they wanted to keep the keynote within an hour, and so they didn't want to spend too much time.
It was 2-hour keynote here.
Well, yeah, 2 hours. But
I don't know. I mean, I just don't know if they're getting the response I think that they wanted. That's just me personally. And then let's talk about watchOS 11. This is going to account for anything that's a 6 series and up will be able to get some of these things. There was really nothing in here for me that I was like, there's a lot about activity and vitals.
I
Vitals
mean, it
was the
was,
only thing that was really cool. Like, but you have to wear this all the time, by the way. So
yes,
it's like it's almost like the watch has to never come off for it to like
yeah.
really get everything. And I don't wear this at night, so I just don't think I'm gonna get like a lot of value out of that. So there really wasn't much here. Like the photos face, yeah, they're gonna change it based on your look. I don't do cycling. The smart stack, it's going to just do more widgets, like if rain's coming up.
Right, right.
A check-in feature, which again during a workout or anything. But beyond that, yeah, I mean, I wasn't like feeling anything on this watch. Right? I mean,
Well,
it was the
yeah,
worst. Other than
it
like
was,
the TV OS, which I don't even want to bring up as a part of this because it was so
yeah.
insignificant. It was really not much there that was exciting.
Well, I think their emphasis was on the health and activity
Right.
issues.
Yes, it's upgradable with Apple Watch SE, but there's nothing in this, I'll be honest, that was great. Let's talk about my favorite feature that's coming out right now, macOS Sequoia. I love again how they emphasize how like they're coming up with like all the different things, but this is the
Oh, yeah.
best feature that is coming out is that your
Yeah.
iPhone will now be available to mirror directly on your Mac. And
Yes.
while your phone is locked, you can
Yeah.
move around the environment as well as iPhone notifications that come on your screen. You can click on and it opens the phone mirroring app to respond to it. This is what you were talking about, Frank, where the OSs are coming together in a way. And now you basically have two OSs that can run on the same Mac.
Yes. Yep. It's merging the operating systems closer and closer together
Yes.
so that you have one operating system on all of your Apple devices.
Now, this is only for iPhone, so us iPad people are not, and we're not there yet, everybody. But yes,
Well, that's only a small step. I mean, from the iPhone to the iPad, it's
right. It's not. You're right. I mean, but this is cool. This is without a doubt the best feature that Apple announced today, other than the Apple Intelligence. I think this is going to be great, and you could drag and drop files and photos and videos. How great is that?
Yeah, I was like just
blown away by this. I was like, this was awesome. This was definitely worth upgrading.
Another thing that I liked about this phone recording.
Yes.
I like that feature. That you can, if you're talking to somebody, you can hit a button on your phone and it'll announce to the party you're talking to that this conversation is being recorded.
Yeah, that's an iOS 18 feature that we didn't talk about, but yes, that is a nice feature that would be
very, very nice.
And actually, a Windows feature they're bringing over, tiles. So now you can just drag a window to tile it up. This has actually been around for a while, so tiling has always been there. I'm sure there'll be great shortcut features that I would love to learn about to do that. Background replacements during calls, which I think is awesome. More options for presentation preview. Safari. Quick pull up information. We've already kind of discussed that. Password app. I think this is replacing Keychain. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So gaming, not really much there that I care about, but all the messages features, the map features that they talked about. And the great news is, again, same deal. They're gonna make this compatible with every single Mac that they had, I think, before. I think there's a few of them that were knocked out, but 2009, look at the 2019 Mac Pro still supported, okay? The Mac Pro 2018 is still supported. So think of that. The iMac Pro is still supported. The iMac Pro is still supported.
Yeah.
With this. So I don't know if it's going to work necessarily with, I wonder if the iPhone mirroring is going to work with all of them.
I don't know.
Did they say anything about that? I think it has to be a T2. I'm sure it's got to be a T2 security chip. Yeah, that's probably one rule. And you have to have two-factor authentication, obviously, which is a no-brainer to have on. By the way, I did have a problem. Someone from Sydney, Australia tried to log into my account.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I got a notification on my phone that told me that. So I immediately changed my password once I found that out. But those are all the little things. But let's talk about some of the little things. They have redesigned this. Thank God for this. The settings app is getting redesigned. It's making it only 2 pages worth of content, which is great. That's much easier to search and do. TV OS is compatible with Apple TV HD. that was released in 2015.
Wow. Well, there's something to be said for making these new features backward compatible, right?
Go back and watch the keynote with all the new releases in here. Frank, overall, what is your takeaway with everything?
I thought it was probably the best keynote they've had in the last 5-6 years easily.
Oh, that's a big one.
I mean, not to take anything away from Vision Pro, I think that's a big one, but
well, you're taking it away because you can't buy it. So
yes,
that's why it doesn't. That's why last year nothing was really exciting except for the Apple Vision Pro, but we can't buy that product. So why do we care?
Well, yep, yeah, but you got to admit when we went to the demo,
no,
pretty impressive.
I love the demo. I again, if I was a single man by myself in my home, yeah, I'm all for it. But I just don't. I would not be able to do this with someone around me. I just don't know how I could do it. Even with Final Cut, I don't know how I could edit with. I mean, I like that 4K idea of that. That's a nice added bonus. I could take a 4K screen anywhere I go. But,
180 degrees, right?
Yeah, I mean, there are benefits to that, but I don't think it's worth that amount of money to do it. I mean, I'll have to write off as a business expense, but geez.
Well, that's not going to cost you anything then.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a lie. Yeah, what a liar. Yeah, I'm looking forward to all the macOS features. I'm looking forward to having Apple Intelligence on my device coming up in the fall. Hopefully it works great. That's my fear, is that it has to work good. So if it doesn't work good, then it's going to be a big failure.
I think it will work okay. I think people will be duly impressed. And we just have to wait for the release, unfortunately. Well, if you're a developer, you don't have to wait. But for the rest of us, we have to wait for the release in the fall. I'm glad I was planning on upgrading my phone this year anyway. So I'm going to be jumping right in, man. And I may even decide to upgrade my Mac Studio. I don't know.
You just got the Mac Studio.
I know. You want to buy it?
No, I'm not buying a Mac Studio. No, I have an M1 Max. Why would I need that? For what I do.
Yep.
All right, guys. But we thank you very much for being a part of our podcast. I'm glad we got to do one of these again. And I'm excited for what the things that are to come. There are going to be a lot of developers who already are going to have all these OSs, and I'm sure there'll be a ton of videos that will talk about those items on there. Meanwhile, we're still going to be working on our numbers one. We have big numbers one coming up. We want to continue down the route of numbers, pages, do more of those items on there. And obviously, with some of the new features that are coming out we'll be able to do some more training coming out very soon. So,
that was the only app they didn't talk about, with the Apple Intelligence was numbers.
I mean, they did talk about pages, numbers, and keynote in generalized, but
but they didn't show anything how it would interact with numbers specifically. They did keynote.
I'd be curious if they can create a formula on the fly if you tell it to.
I don't see why it wouldn't.
Well, that's something we have to test, Frank, and we have to do a video about it. So that's how we know. All right, guys. Well, we thank you very much for joining us for this version of the podcast. Thank you, guys, and leave us any feedback or any questions you want us to know about, and leave your opinions. We love every single one of you.